To politics now. The Premier had some strong words about sex offenders today, but even the eye-opening sound bites Doug Ford gave this morning weren't enough to distract from a scandal that is still circling his government. Let's go live now to Mark McAllister. And Mark, once again, the Premier is facing calls to get rid of his Labour Minister.
That's right, Cynthia. This is the latest in the scandal involving the Skills Development Fund, and now news that an audit has actually been taking place for a company that has benefited from this fund, now being pushed forward to the OPP for a possible investigation.
I've never believed in, even in my private sector, to micromanage each and every minister. I believe in holding our ministers accountable, like I'm being held accountable every day from the people of Ontario.
And yet, Premier Ford still willing to stand by his man, Labour Minister David Piccini, despite more questions surfacing and an investigation possibly taking place. It involves tech firm Get Ahead, part of Keel Digital Solutions, having just gone through a forensic audit by the province, now being referred to provincial police. That very company was rewarded with millions of dollars from the Skills Development Fund by Minister Piccini, who once again was under fire at Queen's Park.
After everything we know, Premier, isn't it time to fire this minister?
Speaker, in a rapidly changing economy, when tariff threats south of the border, when tech, AI is disrupting our workforces, it's important we have a fund to invest in training to support workers.
For its part, the company says the government is blurring two separate things. Quote, Keel Mines MCU student mental health work and the Skills Development Fund, for the sole purpose of distracting from a self-inflicted mess. That conflation is improper and is fueling speculation instead of focusing on facts.
And we're strong on the audit system. It shows that the audits work, and I encourage our whole team to go in there, the audit team, to audit every single dollar that's given to service providers across the board.
Piccini has also been accused of spending personal time with the lobbyist representing the organization, yet not enough for Ford to question anything publicly.
No, I'm not getting rid of them. What we're doing is going to invest in workers for the future in every single sector.
Now, Keel Digital is actually calling on the province to make that audit public. However, Ford says now that it's in the hands of the OPP, he is going to sit and wait and see the result of any investigation that takes place. Cynthia.
And Mark, as I mentioned earlier, the Premier was quite heated today and had some very pointed words about sex offenders, and that included some possible new measures the province is undertaking.
Yeah, the Premier is now calling for portions of or the entire sex offender registry in the province to be made public, and that's something we now know that the province is actively working towards. In what form, we're not quite sure. This comes after the Supreme Court recently made its decision to strike down mandatory minimum sentencing for child pornography offenses.
Who are you in favor with? A bunch of diddlers that are out there pushing child porn and hanging out in neighborhoods and trying to track down young children? Or do you protect the victims? And unfortunately, the Supreme Court has chose to protect these nasty criminals, and just they make me sick.
We've heard this from Premier Ford many times before. He obviously has some very pointed word and gets heated when it comes to this topic. We now know that the Ford government is going to be starting a consultation, and they're hoping that in some form or another, some of that information is going to be made public next spring.